Good morning. Welcome back to the terrace. Hope you're all doing very, very well indeed. Huge announcement last night by Manchester City that their striker, their legend, Sergio Aguero, will be leaving the club at the end of this season. And that will spark, of course, a flurry of articles and stories. One, of course, thorning over him and praising him and talking about what a great player he is. And even as a Man United fan, Sergio Aguero deserves all the praise that he is going to get. What an absolute, not just a Manchester City legend, but a Premier League legend to boot. No doubt, absolute star. The man is an absolute star. There's no doubt about it. City will look to replace him. The big news this morning, probably fairly predictable, really, is that they're going to go all out for Haaland. Haaland is the target, the number one target of Manchester City and Pep Guardiola to bring him to the Etihad and to replace, do you know what's mad? To replace the boots of Aguero. And I think he could do it. I think Haaland could replace him. I think Haaland has the ability, has the quality, has the finishing touch, the footballing ability, as I already mentioned as well, to fit into the City team and maybe even to outscore Sergio Aguero. I honestly think Haaland, if he stays fit, 5 or 6 years into his City career, we could be seeing someone on a trajectory to push past Sergio Aguero's goal record for Manchester City. And that's no disrespect to Sergio Aguero, one of the greatest strikers in Premier League history. And that's what I want to hear from you all about today. Where do you rank Sergio Aguero in terms of Premier League history? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I talk strikers here. Striker legends. Striking legends in the Prem. Where do you rank Sergio Aguero? In other news, Man United are reportedly, along with Tottenham and Liverpool, in a 3-horse race or a 3-way tussle to sign RB Leipzig captain Marcel Sabitzer this summer. I've seen it trending for a while. I was watching quietly in the background yesterday, people arguing over his best position. I was checking it out. This guy's played left, right, centre, a few games in DM. It's unbelievable. But Sabitzer, and the story here says the 27-year-old midfielder has established himself as one of the best in the Bundesliga over the last few years. RB Leipzig face a tough choice with his future hanging in the balance with his contract set to expire in 2022. Man United, Liverpool and Spurs are all said to be interested in signing him should he become available. Would that be a good signing for any of those clubs, Man United, Tottenham or Liverpool? Does he have what it takes to make it in the Premier League? Is it going to be system dependent? What's your thoughts and opinions? For me, a 27-year-old midfielder, it's almost what all three clubs need. Somebody established, somebody in the peak of their powers to come in who isn't going to take 3 or 4 years to grow and develop and move forward in that way. I do look at it, though, and think if Liverpool are in for him, I can't for my life imagine why he would pick Man United or Tottenham over Liverpool. I know this season, on paper, those teams are in front of Liverpool, but with Virgil van Dijk coming back, Gomez coming back, and a new season being less compact, being more space in between games, Liverpool next season, in my opinion, will be back firing, all guns blazing. So it's going to be a tough one for Man United to land. Where will he play for us as well? That's the big question with him. He seems like a utility man to me in terms of multiple positions he can play in. Where do you think Man United, Liverpool or Spurs would want to play him and place him in the field of action? We're going to share the link in a few moments for you to come on and for you to have your say. Your opinions of most paramount important to the football terrace. Let's go to some of your comments. A lot of people saying Sergio Aguero top 10. Morning, Twisted. Hope you are well. Red Devils Down Under. Good morning to you, sir. Shano, thank you for coming back. I love speaking to my members in the morning. Gabrielle here says the battle for Haaland is heating up. It is. It's going to be an amazing battle. I really do think it's going to be. I still make Chelsea my favourites. I think Chelsea will go the extra mile financially to sign him, to bring him in, to sort of shut down approaches from opponents. I really do. I think they'll do that. I really do. Terry, can clubs buy insurance to cover wages of players with long-term injuries? Probably. I think that would be bespoke. I mean, if you go to Lloyd's of London and you propose something to them, yes, I suppose. But the premiums would be extortionate. It would be like trying to get life insurance for somebody with a pre-existing serious medical condition. You might be able to do it, but your premiums are going to be gargantuan. And if the premiums are gargantuan, then it almost circumvents the point. If the salary is 200 grand a week and your premiums are, I don't know how much. I don't know. I have no idea how much they'd be, but they're somewhere similar. It almost becomes nonsensical. So I don't know how much it would cost. I'm sure you could go to Lloyd's of London, propose the idea for the insurance, and say this is what we want. Because people do weird, like, what's the guy that used to do the river dance? Is it Flatley, Stephen Flatley or something? Like, he insured his legs. Like, that's not a normal thing to, you don't ring up Direct Line, like, bring, hello. Yeah, hi. I need some insurance, please. Oh, what kind of insurance you're after, sir? Car? No. Oh, is it your home you want to insure, sir? No, not my home. Your pets? No, my pets are all good, thanks. Well, what are you looking to insure? Well, I want to insure my feet. It's a weird, you wouldn't ring direct. You just, what? You need to, it's bespoke. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't work that way around. It'd be mad. Why are Chelsea favourites? In my opinion, Chelsea are favourites because they, in my view, are more likely to break transfer records to get the deal done. I'm not sure if City will. Just based on history, how much they're willing to spend. Records that have been broken in the past. City may decide, no, we are going to move heaven and earth to land Haaland. They may not. If Haaland says to them, this summer, I'm 100% coming to you, I'm going to reject Chelsea, just wait until it's cheaper next year, maybe City will wait for that. It's not like they've struggled without Aguero this year. But if it's a case of this is the summer, whoever pays the most is who I'm going to, then we're really going to see who's happy to put their money where their mouth is. That's the only reason I venture towards Chelsea. City could break the record. Of course they could. I'm not saying that's impossible or not going to happen. I have no idea in terms of facts. It's just my opinion. I think City, Chelsea have got the appetite to want to outbid them. That's my view. Just looking here, says, I just feel like Haaland may want to go to Real or Bayern, might even wait for it. And that could, of course, that could happen. That is properly 100% conceivable. Without a shadow of a doubt, that could happen. Of course it could. Of course it could. Young Wizard here says, Chelsea destroy strikers. I wouldn't go there personally. I know they've not got a great record. Crespo, I think of players that were proper stars when they went there, like Crespo, Shevchenko, Higuain. Who else has gone? Werner, let's give him a bit of time. But what other strikers have gone to Chelsea and expected to tear it up and haven't? I mean, Drogba's a Premier League legend. They did pretty well with him. Eidegaard Johnson and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, for the era they played for Chelsea, sensational. Who else? I'm trying to think of other strikers. I'm sorry that my knowledge on Chelsea strikers isn't the same as Chelsea fans, but they didn't all flop. Morata, I suppose you could put him into that category. Torres, okay, there are some. Yeah, Torres didn't do what he meant, but Torres was a bad buy. His hamstrings were gone. It was one of the very few mistakes that Chelsea have made. Like, in terms of, we all knew it before it happened. Costa killed it. See, yeah, Diogo Costa was excellent. Diogo Costa killed it. So I'm having to sip me tea. Lovely. Yeah, some have done well. Some haven't quite made it, but that's normal. I swear, if you actually went through it and broke it down and actually studied it with clubs, you could say that's normal. Haaland will kill it, though. Haaland's next level. Haaland is next level for me. DJ here says, I disagree with Young Wizard. Hasselbank, Johnson, Drogba, Costa were all great for us. Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with you completely, bro. I agree with you completely. By the way, we don't advertise this as much anymore. We haven't done. But remember, if you become an official member, there are official Football Terrace custom emojis available. And we are going to be updating these soon when the channel kind of moves forward in our new direction. And I'm just going to post them all right now. You've got Man United ones, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs. There's City. There's all sorts of different emojis. We are going to get them all updated over time to refresh them and get everyone buzzing for things moving forward. But I just want to show them to you now. I think they've just been posted. Well, they should just post now. I don't know why they're not posting. It's annoying me. Maybe I put two. There we go. I posted some of them. There's more available. Remember, if you are a paying member, you do get those bespoke emojis. We are going to be updating them very, very soon as well. We've got some super chats coming through here. First one says, Haaland named 2 clubs he won't play for, Chelsea and PSG. When did he do that? Let me know when he did that. Share a link with me and we'll have a look. But I take those things with a pinch of salt. Cesc Fabregas, I think, said he'd never play for Chelsea. He did. Arsenal should sign Aguero for Laka. Is Haaland a Pep kind of player? He's a proper number 9. Doesn't City's system prefer a more fluid player like Mbappe who is interchangeable? It's a good question. It's a really good point. It's a very good challenge to City signing him. I think Haaland is far more talented football-wise than people give him credit for. It's not as though Dortmund are not renowned for playing fluid football. It's not as though they're renowned for being completely rigid, target man, number 9 striker. So I think he'll be able to adapt. I think Haaland will shock people in the Prem at how gifted a football player he truly is. A little bit like in the mold of Harry Kane and Zlatan suffer with this. They're very good football players as well as being potent strikers. Same as Robert Lewandowski, an absolutely superior footballer. I think you get very few of those strikers in the modern day game, the kind of Michael Owens of this world, Ruud van Nistelrooy, who were good footballers, but they were finishers. Ian Wrights. I wouldn't have looked at they weren't players that you looked at and went, baller in terms of his passing, his range, their touch, their control, their goal. Like they were out and out scorers. And then you had your sort of second strikers, the kind of Cantonards, Bergkamps, Teddy Sheringham's, who had the guile and you very rarely had those two things mixed. Modern day footballers are different. Training's done different now for young players coming through. It's like in England, a lot of our pacey players when they were kids, when I was growing up, if you were fast, if you were fast and big, you were a striker. If you were fast and a little small, you were stuck on the wing. And it was all knock and go. Just knock it, run onto the ball and whip a ball into the box. There was very little time being spent on those players, nurturing their skills, their technique, their touch. They left that to the slower players that were in the middle. And I think what's happening now as time evolves is, well, let's work on everybody's skill, everybody's touch, everybody's ability, including goalkeepers. And then your team is technically better. More, I saw something Aidan posted the other day is the next era going to be about pace or skill? I think it's going to be an amalgamation of the two, where of course, you'll get players with less pace that are still brilliant footballers. But I think you're going to get more players. There's going to be less and less Javier Hernandez's and Theo Walcott's, who were all about finishing or speed. I think there's going to be, at the highest level, there's going to be a much bigger combination of the two things. Terry, do you think Chelsea should go after a Grealish or Sancho player? Potentially, but they do have Mason Mount. They have Mason Mount and they have Kai Havertz. And then the wings, not literally the wings, but waiting in the wings, they have the Pulisics and the Hakim Ziyech's. I think Chelsea should give Mount and Havertz another year before looking to replace them with brilliant creative players. I think that's what they should do. In my humble opinion, that would be the most sensible thing to do. That would be the most sensible approach. Because what you don't want to do is say you get rid of Mount. That isn't going to happen, by the way. I think Mount's the future captain. But you get rid of Mount, or you get rid of someone like Kai Havertz. You spend big on a Grealish, who does really, really well, but then Kai Havertz goes somewhere else and fulfills his potential, and you get another KDB moment. Because hindsight's lucrative, but they need to learn from their mistakes. They've got two very talented young players in Mason Mount and Kai Havertz. Give them the time. That would be my view. I'm going to share the link in a minute for you to come on and have your say, but do me a favor this morning, please. Hit that like button right now. Get that done. Share this on your social media streams, in your group chats, on your Facebook. Get people involved, please. Red Devil Down Under says, City have been too conservative for too long when competing for other teams for their top targets. Maguire, Sanchez, Werner, Haaland won't happen. That's an interesting point. That is definitely an interesting point. Strip Bear here says, yes, become a member. Absolutely. And the perks are going to really come to life after our announcement. We've definitely held back in terms of the kind of content that we've been creating because we've been waiting for the announcement and the merger that's coming. And then you're going to see we've got so much stuff coming, professional documentaries, in studio shows with the Football Terrace crew, some really good special guests on the horizon as well. It's going to be amazing. So yes, definitely become a member. There's so many perks and benefits to that. The announcement's Thursday. Yes, the announcement will be Thursday. I hope. Yes, it will be because everything's signed. So that's going to be done very, very soon. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to bring it to you. And the focus is you. That's what's going to be amazing about this. The focus is the viewers. It's the audience more than anything else. Essentially, you are going to be the stars of the show. And that's the mantra. It really, really is. I'm going to share the link now. First of all, in the comments section below, and then I'm going to share it on the Discord server. Make sure you sign up to the Discord. It's really important that you do. It's a great community over there. Great conversations always happening as ever. It really, really is. Let me just update a few little bits and pieces. Let's go. So Mount is nowhere near Havertz. I'm not saying he's as good as Havertz, bro. That isn't what I said, is it? You're literally twisting my words. But I said with the two that you've got, I think you should stick with them and give them another year to see how much more they progress. That would be my view, and that would be my opinion. Terry, yesterday you mentioned that Man United should buy the right players. Can you guarantee you are? Well, I can't guarantee that. But if you're buying the right profile with the right mentality, with the correct attributes, who specializes in the positions that are weak within your team, who you have scouted to the nth degree, and you have cast iron factual proof that they can play in the system of which they're being asked to play in. So if that system there's no system and it's freestyle, great, fine. I don't want to argue that, but you need to find a player that can operate in that and be successful. If you get that due diligence right, there is absolutely no reason why a player shouldn't be successful. The problem with Man United is we've always put square pegs in round holes invariably. Sign players for the wrong reason. So when you've got someone sitting on the medical table of another team and he only comes to you because you offer him an extra 100 grand a week, the likelihood that person is going to be successful, in my view, reduces significantly. First caller remember, we want to hear from you today. I want to hear your thoughts on Aguero leaving Manchester City. Where does he rank in terms of Premier League greats? Is Haaland going to be the replacement? And Marcel Sabitzer, is that what Manchester United need? Is he good enough? Is he potent enough? Will he be able to adapt to the Prem? What are your views and opinions? And if he does come, where is he going to play? First caller of the day. We're going to get I've got a comment here from Simon. Actually says, Simon, I love Bits and Bobs. Listen, Bits and Bobs is great. Bits and Bobs and I, we get on great. He's a good guy. He's done an amazing job hosting the show only for a short period of time. And, he's got a lot of commitments in his family life, university, work, of course, his beautiful family at home and his jobs. And he's also growing his own thing. And as I said to a lot of the Football Terrace individuals, go do, if you want to grow your own thing, your own football, go do it. We're still going to be supportive. He's still going to be coming on match reactions. He's still going to be involved in preview shows and involved with the Terrace. So when he says he's leaving, I would have chose different words. I would have said, I'm no longer the host of that show. I'm focusing on my own things. He's still part of the Football Terrace community. That's my view. So, and we spoke yesterday. Great guy, 110%. No doubt about it. First caller of the day on the show, Pav's with us. Pav, what you saying, bro?
How you doing, man? This Sabitzer thing, man. I think it's all paper talk as usual. It's not someone that we need. Like another midfielder who's not really a DM. He does like to attack a lot. We've still got Donny van der Beek. We've got Bruno. People are saying that we're all looking to offer Jesse a new contract for him to stay. Like, where would this guy fit? In my opinion, I think he'll end up at Tottenham. The links were there with Tottenham. I think it was the window just gone in January. As I believe he'll end up there if Leipzig do decide to sell. I don't think he'll end up at Liverpool. I don't think he's the sort of player that Liverpool need right now. I think for them, they need more attacking options and probably defensive options. But the player that we kind of need is right there for everyone to see. Declan Rice, Ndidi, a centre back and a striker, not another attacking midfielder. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. With this whole Haaland thing, I can't believe that he's going to end up at City or Chelsea. I can't believe it. Like, we had the chance to sign this guy. I know it weren't a good deal for us, but it just shows how far Man United have fallen over the years, that we can't get world-class players anymore because we don't want, like, we would, in the past, we would probably spend the money, but now it's like apparently we don't have money. And from what I've seen yesterday in certain interviews, what I've read in the past week, we don't have money apparently to do these big deals. So I'm not expecting anything in the summer.
What I would say about the money, people need to 100 million plus potential money from signings. What people have to understand about that is,
I know you can split it into different targets.
Yeah, it's not that's how much we were willing to commit total. So this is where the media can be exposed to the way they talk about transfers. There are no such thing as war chests. There are no such things as we can spend up to £100 million this summer on players. And what they mean by that is they can, but that's in terms of initial outlay. That's essentially about how much spare capital they've got to commit to players. And by the way, that may also include salary commitments and everything else year one. So if you sign a £50 million player, but you're paying that in installments, which most transfers are, the commitment year one might be with agent fees, with the year one installment, and maybe a small signing on fee. That might be a £15 million commitment year one. That comes out of the £100 million. So people have to be aware that isn't just £100 million to spend in its entirety per se. And that's where I get frustrated when I watch. I think we get some echo from your end. That's where I get a little bit frustrated with a lot of the interviews I see with journalists. Nobody's challenging and asking the financial questions that the fans need to know. Is that total spend on the players, or is that the available cash to spend? And how does that work with amortization? What happens if players are sold? Is this, does this stop us? Does that include Pogba's contract renewal money? Because remember, in the cold light of day, there is no such thing as a transfer budget as such. There is a set amount of money each season that's taken out of the turnover of a football club that's spent on player expenditure, transfer fees, salaries, agent fees, bonuses. They come out of that. And if you lose a big player on big money, that's part of it. If you re-sign Pogba and pay him an extra 200 grand a week, that's millions of pounds a year that come out of your player expenditure, Kitty. That's really important to look at that. Just quickly on Sergio Aguero, where does he rank for you in terms of Premier League greats?
I would say top 5, but not. I've put him at number 5. I think even though he plays for Arsenal, like Henry, Wayne Rooney, Alan Shearer, are there ahead of him. By far. The only reason I put him probably 5th is because he plays for Man City. It's not, if he was at a different club, let's say you're Liverpool or someone like that, I'd rate him highest. Because he was at City, it's like, you know what I mean? It's just not a top club, not a club with history. It's why I can't. It's just because of that one bit. I can't put him like some people would say like number 2, but I can't put him there. He'd be like number 5 for me.
No, I hear you completely, mate. Listen, I appreciate that you coming on. I understand what you're saying. I think he's absolutely class. I get where you're coming from a rival point of view there, bro. Listen, Pav, top man, thank you very much for coming on the show and having your say. Really appreciate it. There's been a tweet from Fabrizio Romano, quote here from Mino Raiola, who says, Paul Pogba has a fantastic appeal worldwide. I heard from Man United that he's appreciated. Also from Man United side, Ollie's side. Today, if someone asks me, can you find a club for Paul? I could take my nephew of 5 and find I could take my nephew of 5 years old and find a club for Paul at a high level, saying it's easy. Paul's wanted. He also went on to say, I don't give an F if I never do another player with Man United. I'm not in their hands. I'm independent. Guardiola, I've closed the book for a long time ago. No, everybody knows what I think of him personally. He can say what he thinks of me personally. Shot said that could be big news. That could be big news in relation to Chelsea maybe landing Haaland, if it's true. But Mino Raiola is what Mino Raiola is. He's basically, for me, when I read through what he's saying here, it's like, I do what's best for my clients. I'm independent. I'm not owned by any club. And I don't care what the managers of the clubs think of me. I'll do the business that's right for my players. So if Haaland says, I want to go Man City, it will happen. Do you get what I mean? It's like, that's what I think he's saying there. It's not, I don't think it's negative about Man United. He's basically saying, if Man United don't want to do business with me, I don't care. If City don't want to do business with me, I don't care. But if my players want to go there, then they can go there. We work it out. That's what it sounds like to me. But that's just my interpretation of what he said. You might all have a different opinion. Morning. All watching in Zimbabwe. Yeah, let me know this morning where you're all watching from around the world. Smash the like and share button. Let's go, people. Next on the show, my guy, one of our mods, South London. Sorry, it's not. I thought it was South London's finest. It's not. It's South London with us, or Bailey Tech is his name. Welcome to the terrace. What are you saying?
I'm good, man. What are you saying, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. What's on your mind? What do you want to talk about?
Sabitzer. Yeah, he's a good player, but he would suit Man United. A lot of people complain about McTominay and Fred in the midfield, but if he was to, let's say, replace Fred in the midfield, then we would have someone who can hold on to the ball, distribute it better, somebody who can actually shoot in front of goal. But I don't think he will come to Man United, unfortunately. He'll probably go to Liverpool. Liverpool are losing that Dutch guy, I forgot his name.
Genie went out. Yeah. Genie went out.
Yeah, so Liverpool are losing him. So he could potentially go there. And plus, I did some reading up on him. He's very good at the press and stuff like that. So that would tie into the way Jurgen Klopp likes to play football. He could also go to Tottenham. So I don't really see him coming to Man United. It would be a good signing, but then I don't see them disposing of Fred anytime soon.
Yeah, I hear you on that completely, bro. Listen, great call, mate. I think it's your first. Is that your first call on the show?
Yeah, first call.
Make sure you dial in again, bro. Great stuff. Top man. All the best, brother. Look after yourself. Thank you. We're going to have Chucky on next. We've got Everyday Same backstage. Abs is backstage. Joss is backstage. Aaron is backstage. So we're going to be getting you all on. Make sure you hit the like button. Share this on your social media streams. We're talking Aguero. We're talking about the breaking news now as well. Mino Raiola has come out. And I don't know if it's shots. I don't know what it is, what he really means. I haven't heard the tone of voice, but he said, I don't give an F if I never do another player with United. He goes, he's basically, he's also taken shots at Guardiola as well. He says he's closed the book on that one. Chelsea fans, what does this mean to you? Chucky's on the line next. Big United fan. What are you saying, my brother? Oh, I can't hear you, bro. No sound. You're not muted either. I'll put you backstage, sort that out, and we'll get you back on the sec, bro. Yeah, sweet as. We're going to go to Everyday Same. Everyday Same, welcome back, brother. What are you saying?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, mate. How are you?
Pass.
Cool. What are you here to talk about today, brother?
Well, you're talking about Haaland and all the rest of it, aren't you? So let me just pick up on the Mino Raiola comment. I think Pep Guardiola is passive aggressive. People think that he's nice and this, that, and the other. It's all a big act. The one time you actually saw what Pep Guardiola was like was, remember when he caused a controversy just before the derby? He said, because basically a reporter said to Pep Guardiola, Mino Raiola called you a dog. And Pep Guardiola went, well, he offered me Paul Pogba last week. And that's where it all came from. It was the one time Pep Guardiola was actually himself. So me and Raoila hates Pep Guardiola probably more than anyone. The thing with the Haaland, though, it's like, I never really think that City would. It's obviously he's a generational talent, and all the rest of it. But I didn't think that City would get him because it would do two things. It would destroy their pay structure and the way that they do business. And also, Pep Guardiola created or was in charge of the greatest team in the last 30 years. To make that team, he got rid of a potential world-class Alexis Sanchez, Yaya Toure that was world-class, and Ibrahimovic. And he had that Pedro up front. Yeah. So he knows that he can create an untouchable team without having a world-class number 9. Also, it would destroy what they've built at City. It's no coincidence that the two directors of football that created that team left Barcelona, went to City. Barcelona then spend 350 million on 3 comparative flops. You know, they've got the perfect meritocracy there. They'll pay over the odds for players with potential. So nobody's got an ego. They've only got a couple of players that are on big money, and everybody's desperate to get in their team. So I don't think that Pep Guardiola is waking up this morning or thinking, oh, well, you know, we've got the money to buy Haaland, and, you know, could get, you know, they can do it without him.
Do you feel, question for you, do you think that these comments this morning that have come out from, do you think it sort of semi-confirms that Chelsea are the front runners, or Chelsea might be the ones to sign Haaland? Do you think that's what Raiola's doing in terms of saying, look, I'm not good, I don't, is it putting Chelsea in the front seat for you, or is it just posturing and a tactic to create, because for him, he want to create the biggest bidding war possible for his player, won't he?
Well, right, okay, you say that, but the thing is, we don't have the context of what was said to him before that. Me personally, I just think it's him being him. Somebody said, oh, well, you know, made a comment like, oh, you must be interested in Manchester United. And he's been it's like, I don't give a fuck about United. And I certainly don't give a fuck about Pep Guardiola. He's not opening the door to Chelsea. Chelsea are the only club. Chelsea are the only club that can get Haaland this year. Because Paris have the money, he won't want to go there. City have the money, doesn't want to deal with Raiola, and they're not going to damage what they've created. Chelsea are the only team that can get Haaland this year.
Listen, I don't overtly disagree with what you said there. Logically, that's why I make Chelsea. There's so many reasons why I make Chelsea the front runners. How much like they spend, all sorts of different bits and pieces and things there. Listen, every day, same great call, mate. Great having you on the show as ever. Always good logic, mate. Appreciate that. Take care, mate. See you soon. Top man. Pavs here with a super chat says Raiola is a pig, but he has some of the best players on his side. So clubs are going to have to do business with him, whether they like it or not. Have Guardiola and Ollie's relationships with Mino Raiola, are they going to be costly in the attempted signing of Haaland? Most media outlets report that Haaland is a top target for both those clubs. What are your views and opinions on the comments from Mino Raiola this morning that have been released via The Athletic? We want to hear from you. I'm going to share the link in the live comment sections again. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace as ever. Next on the show, Chucky is back with us. What are you saying, mate?
Is it working? Tell me, is it working? Can you hear me?
Bro, got you. There we go.
Good morning. You're good. Mino Raiola, let's start there. He's just doing his job, first of all. We always seem to forget this. We go around every sort of 3 weeks, there's a comment from Mino Raiola. Some people get upset. Some people take it out of context. He's just doing his job. I feel his relationship with Pep is worse than with Ole. Ole is far more reasonable and flexible as well as far as communication is concerned, I feel. I believe Manchester United do not want to pay out over the odds for him. So I feel like he's putting his comments out there to maybe unofficially put a little bit of pressure or put a bit of context to the situation out there without putting it out there entirely. I feel he's trying to get Manchester United to possibly pay a bit more as far as negotiations are concerned there. But Chelsea, I believe, will be front runners. But then there's another thing I feel like I don't see why everyone thinks he's going to leave right now. I don't see why. Myself, if I was Haaland, I'd wait. I'll not leave this season. End of this season, I think I would wait. So we might not even see Haaland go anywhere. That's my opinions in that respect. But Mino Raiola is just doing Mino Raiola things. He just talks, doesn't he? That's what he does.
and he does. No, you're right. And I think for me, it's like these things in business. It's everybody. And I know that Fergie sort of spoke about it's like water and oil. The relationship doesn't work. But Fergie kind of retired not long after saying that. And if Fergie really wanted a player and Raiola was involved, in real life, in the grown-up world, you learn to put differences aside. Do you know what's mad, right? I've been involved in the YouTube stuff for a while. And what I find when I deal with YouTubers is people actually live in their... I've been guilty of this. We've all lived in our emotions too much. We're like, no, this person criticized my opinion once, so I'm not doing this show with him. And it's sort of like, do you know what? In real life, when it comes to business, if you're looking to really turn into something else, sometimes you've got to swallow that pride and say, what's best for my club? And if Guardiola thinks and knows that Haaland is that player that keeps him at the top for the next 4 or 5 years, imagine not signing him because, Raiola said something bad about me. That's just that means you're putting your feelings and emotions before the club. Now, if you think that Raiola being involved in your club is going to rip it apart, then that's different. But what Raiola says about you as a person, it shouldn't really matter. Professionalism should always... the professionals will always come first, and this is going to be a real test for a lot of people. What's your thoughts on the Sabitzer links to Man United?
Sabitzer links to Manchester United, we should just leave that alone. As in, my personal opinion, I like Sabitzer, but in the cold light of day, and with the extra pressure of moving country and playing for what is a massive club in comparison to his own, no offense to him. There's no point. I don't think we should bother messing with it. I don't see him any better than Scott McTominay. Unpopular opinion. I'm not saying Scott McTominay can do all football skills better than him, but no, I don't put him above Scott McTominay. I don't even put him above Fred, really. I think we should leave that alone. That's my opinion.
Sabitzer's not as good as McTominay, or not better than McTominay.
Not better. No, they've got different attributes. He can bring a lot to the club. At the end of the day, we all, you can say he's not been given a chance. Before Donny van der Beek stepped through the door, I've been loving that guy for ages, but when you actually see it with the pressure on in England, when it's right there, I'm not saying Sabitzer won't work. I just don't feel it's worth the risk. I don't feel he's a level above what we've got. Well, and we've got better players than Sabitzer anyway.
Wow. I mean, that's I would love the viewers' take on that one there. It's an interesting one in terms of where I don't disagree with you is you never know how Sabitzer is going to perform in the Prem. It could be a signing who comes in and we just go, he ain't so great for whatever reason. I don't think the viewers are going to like that because Scott McTominay hates, bro. But
y'all can kill me. It's fine. You can kill me. But I'm just calling it as I see it. End of the day, we all got told, if you think about it, two seasons ago, we're talking about I bring him up again, Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard's terrible. Should be nowhere near that Manchester United squad. We need to get him out of the club. Jesse Lingard, nominated for Player of the Month. Jesse Lingard, he's showing he can play without pressure. At the end of the day, Manchester United have good players. We always have good players. I'm not saying Sabitzer's bad, but as far as in he's going to hit the ground running, definitely. He's not Bruno, people. I mean, it's just not the same. Not the same. He's not heads and shoulders above what we got. That's my opinion.
I hear that. Abs is backstage shaking his head, so I've got to bring Abs into this conversation here. What are you saying, Abs?
Chucky, you're my guy, bro. What the hell did just come out of your mouth just now? Oh my lord. Firstly,
I'm here for it.
Firstly, regarding the Sabitzer thing, I would only get him, and which I think would be a good deal if we do a swap deal with Donny van der Beek. I actually think Sabitzer suits Ollie's style more than Donny. So if we was doing a swap deal, I think it's brilliant. What you said about Fred and McTominay, wow.
I got a question for you, say.
Yeah.
What do you want Sabitzer for?
No, so I wouldn't want him. Like, for example, like with what Man United need, I actually think we need 2 DMs, personally, just because. And again, I'd like to get both your opinion. It also depends what Ollie wants to do, because if he wants to play the 4-3-3, we need 2 DMs. If he wants to play the 2 6s, again, I still think we need 2 DMs. So Sabitzer's not what we need, but if we're going to get him, I think only a swap deal, like a swap deal for Donny, because I don't think Donny suits Ollie. That's just the thing for me.
You know what? You just kind of hit the nail on the head there. When I say Sabitzer is not better than when I say Sabitzer is not heads above Fred and Scott McTominay, I'm talking on the defensive aspect. We do not need another creator. I mean, Sabitzer, love him to bits. Well, it's all good, but as in we don't need him for that. So if Sabitzer's coming, I'm not going to be comparing him to Bruno. I'm not comparing him to Pogba because he's going to lose that. He ain't going to win that. So what other comparison is I'll be comparing it to Scott McTominay and Fred, and I'm looking at the defensive aspects of his game, and he's not heads and shoulders above them. So that's the aspects of it. Maybe I didn't explain myself properly. That's the aspects I mean, as far as I don't put him above him. As a football player, I did say he's not above him in what we need. And as you said, the defensive side of things is what we need.
Do you know what you said there makes sense. This is the problem. I know Sabitzer has played in a DM role before. I know, or he's played in the sort of central holding role before. My question to people, he's not that role, and that's Man United's problem. We don't have Matic's party's best. We don't outside of him. We don't have a DM. Everybody that plays in that role is doing it makeshift. So we don't have a specialist. Man United need a specialist in that position. So a Declan Rice and in DD to go in there and do that. And what's interesting is this. I saw the other day when England's lineup was announced against Albania. I see the world moan. No, why are we so negative? Why are we playing DMs and a double pivot against a rubbish team? Every time Man United lineup comes out when we're not playing a better team than us, you see that same comment. But then I watch all the top 6 teams, and I watch a game where it's like, well, Liverpool's midfield is pure workmanlike. For me, it's a very defensive midfield that covers defensive positions. It's not an attacking midfield in my view. Like you consistently see Fernandinho's and Rodri's play in a City team as an example. You see quite often Kante, Kovacic, who are not for me. Sorry, not Kovacic. Kante and Jorginho. Jorginho, I don't call a DM in the sort of hustle and bustle type way, but he reminds me of Carrick, who was a holding midfield player. He's not a creator. He isn't a Xavi or an Iniesta or a Scholes in his younger days, or a creator. And no one moans about those systems using more defensive-minded double pivots or central players. They only moan about it when it's Man United, or they only moan about it when it's England, because the players we have doing those roles, generally speaking, are not good enough technically. If you throw in a Declan Rice into a DM and play him in a double pivot next to Pogba, no one is going to call it negative, because the passing range of those two together is going to open teams up, and suddenly no one looks at the double pivot as being negative. But when you play Scott and Fred there, and they don't have the passing range from deep to open teams up, all they really do is break up play and win the ball back. It looks negative. And that's why we need specialists in those roles, because one will improve as a team. That's of paramount importance. But secondly, it will just shut up these people from moaning. Because in a cold light of day, 4-2-3-1s and 4-3-3s and I'll give you a great example. A 3-4-3 is 5 at the back when you're defending. Yeah, it depends on what perspective you use when you look at it. Most formations change when you're in or out of possession. It's just the way it works. A 4-2-3-1 can become a 4-3-3 when Pogba drops a little bit deeper into midfield. Suddenly, it's not about the set starting formation. It's about the fluidity of the team at the right times and the ability on the ball of those football players. It really, really is. And that's why, again, the Sabitzer thing for me, will he be better at passing the ball out from those deeper areas than Scott and Fred? Yeah. Probably. But is he going to be as good? Is there any proof that he can break the ball up as well as those two? No. My fear would be this. We bring in Sabitzer, play him in that role. The passing element improves, but then we leak. We leak through the middle like Jesus eating a Malteser, and then we're in trouble again. Do you know what I mean? That's my fear and my worry. It's like square pegs, round holes all the bloody time with this football club. We're going to bring in some more callers now as well.
Terry, sorry.
Yeah, go on, Abs. Go on, bro.
I was going to say about the Aguero thing. Again, before people shout at me, for me, Aguero is the 3rd best striker to ever play in the Premier League. And I use longevity, talent, and what you've won. So for my top 3 is Henry, Rooney, Aguero. At me. Who's breaking that top 3?
Do you know what?
I can.
Go on, who you putting above?
You putting above him?
How can we talk about the Premier League and not mention Ryan Giggs? Let's be real.
Oh no, strikers. We're saying strikers.
Oh, we're only talking about forwards and strikers only.
Yeah,
fair play. Well, you can't argue with that goal scorer there, right? I'm not going to argue with you there.
Yeah, do you know who I always feel sorry for in that conversation? I always feel sorry for, it was his decision, but Alan Shearer, because if he would have gone to Man United, he would have won so many Premier Leagues. He'd have won. He would be. I think he'd be considered greater than Henry if he'd have gone to Man United because of that legacy of winning the major trophies, scoring more goals. I think he would have scored more goals. He'd have won more trophies, and that always cements your legacy. Like he had seasons where the guy was banging in 20, 30 goals in all comps, but his team were finishing fifth, so no one cared. Do you know what I mean? Like people forget how many goals. Yeah, like people care less when you're not winning. It's a bit like scoring a great goal in a game where your team loses. That great goal gets lost in history. We're going to throw Fixer into the mix here. Fixer, welcome back to the terrace, mate. What do you want to say? Fixer.
Hello.
Yes, morning.
Hey.
What are you saying, bro?
What's good, my bro from another mo? How you guys doing, by the way?
I'm all right, man.
All good, brother. All good. What's on your mind?
Sorry, I'm listening to you on my PlayStation as well. That's why I have that little delay. Yeah. So I think Sabitzer I think he'll be a decent fit for United. You know, personally, you know, I mean, he can hold the midfield. You know, he can play this defensive mid as well. You know, and I think if we're gonna get over this McFred stuff, then he might be someone we should consider. But that's not actually why I called. Why I called was because I think United should sign Harry Kane.
Yes, agree with that. Next year, agree with that.
Because he said he's going to decide his future after the Euros, didn't he? So
yeah, because the reason why I agree with Fixer is for me this year, Haaland is going to Chelsea or Man City. That's the only two teams that can pay 150 million. Because if I was Chelsea and Man City, I'll be scared waiting another year because obviously Real Madrid will enter that, Bayern Munich will enter it, which will make it a lot more tougher for them to get Haaland. For this year only, it's a free hit between Chelsea and Man City for me.
Do you know what? Like, I would not be upset with Harry Kane going to Man United if we can't get Haaland for love nor money. Then
I think it'll be perfect for him.
We need it. But if we don't sign him this summer, if it's a 2022 deal, what do? Do you try and convince? Because that's the only problem here. Is do you convince Cavani to stay for one more year, trigger his deal so he can't leave?
No, absolutely not. I
Yeah,
think
but
Cavani.
Okay,
I think Cavani was a bad signing.
Okay. So what then? So if say
Green-
Cavani goes
Greenwood.
for 1 year by himself, but we still need we got no cover, bro, boys. What do we do for cover?
Greenwood.
Yeah, but the
I
problem.
think
The problem here.
Hang on. So Cavani goes. Greenwood steps. Who's the cover?
okay, so we would have cover up front for a year of Martial, Greenwood, Rashford. I would rather get another winger like Sancho who could play on either wing. We still got Diallo. For me, Harry Kane is the Van Persie, the icing on the cake. Once we've got everything sorted out, I wouldn't mind having a striker for a year because we technically last year and a half we've proved we can score goals without a number 9, as people would say it. But if we sort out our midfield and get a centre back, and only thing we need to win a league is Harry Kane, it's game over.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. And I was gonna say, sorry, Chucky. I just wanted to say my battery's gonna die soon, so I might cut off anyways. Yeah, so I agree with you. Harry Kane is gonna be like that Van Persie sort of thing, but I don't think we should. I think if we hit Tottenham hard, I think they'll relent for like 50-60 million. I don't think he's not as young as Haaland. So
Daniel Levy won't do that.
You never know, man. You never know.
There we go. Chucky, what's your views, bro?
I was going to say, Manchester United, when Cavani goes, rather than if Cavani goes, we definitely have to get another forward. Otherwise, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot. You can promote younger people. You can say Diallo can step up, man. The kid's not played 5 minutes and 5 games of adult football yet, so I can't put that much pressure on a 19-year-old that's just started the game. You can promote other people. We've got Shortel, what do you call it? I might be saying his name wrong, but we definitely need to get another body if we get rid of Cavani. Otherwise, we're asking for trouble. And personally, making do is okay, but it's nice to know that you can rely on somebody. I mean, end of the day, we had Igalo before, not as good, but we still need that experienced player who can finish the ball. So if Cavani goes, we got to cover that. we'll have to get another forward.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Listen, gents, thank you all very much for coming on, having your say. Really appreciate it, boys. We're going to go to some more calls. Thank you very, very much indeed. Fixer as well. Top man. Thank you, Abs. You can call in. The links available on the Discord server. It's in the general chat room. We have shared it below as well. We'll get it out there again now. If you want to have your say this morning on any of these subjects at all, get your super chats in as well. Here's one from Pav. He says, we will get Haaland, Terry, when he's about 33, 34 years old and United is still struggling to find a striker. That wouldn't surprise me. You know, we sit here doing a show in 15 years' time, and it's like we eventually get him. Do you know what I mean? We eventually landed Ollie's target when there's been 17 more managers at the club. Johnny here says, Kane is not going anywhere. He is Tottenham through and through. Blend say Sabitzer is 75% done. To who? 75% done to who? I'd love to know your thoughts. I'd love to know who it is you're talking about in relation to that. The Undertaker CFC says, don't think Haaland fits Manchester City's style of play, but he fits at Chelsea. And do you think, viewers, do you think the comments today by Mino Raiola confirm that Chelsea are the favourites, confirm the deal to Chelsea is going to happen? Is it a shot in the, is it a shot in the bow for Man City and Manchester United? Does this make Chelsea the Premier League front runners to sign Haaland? Fairly scathing words about Manchester United and about Pep Guardiola. Hit that like button. Phone into the show to have your say. Next up, we are going to have man like Josh. Josh, welcome back to the show. Mate. What do you want to say?
Hey, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good. What's in your mind?
Few of the topics. I think we should stay away from Sabitzer. I mean, he's a good player, but like you've kept alluding to, I think it's not the highest priority signing, and it's a square peg round hole. I think we're better served finding an actual specialist position in midfield rather than just trying to go, that I guess the utility sort of player that we seem to be aiming for at the moment. We've got Fred and McTominay, who arguably aren't supposed to be DMs. Matic has passed it. So we're basically just making do with players that can do a half job rather than finding a out-and-out player for a position. Priorities should still be centre-back, right winger, and a striker, because, I mean, like it or not, I think Cavani's gone. Too much noise around it for it to just be a rumour. And, too much risk trying to trigger any extension, just injury prone, and no point keeping someone around on that sort of money that's going to be injury prone. So, yeah, I just don't see any of that happening. Haaland, like I said in that super chat, I think Chelsea will be the only one to do it if he does go this year. Roman, very big admirer, obviously, and he's got the clout and the financial muscle to blow anyone out of the water, really. I mean, City will go in with probably a market value bid at most, and I don't think if Roman comes back with anything that they'll go any further than an initial bid, maybe a second one. So, yeah. And as for Aguero, I taken off my rival hat and how much I despise City and their empty stadiums. I'd rank him top 3 strikers easily. I haven't been watching long enough and not a big history buff about the Premier League, but I mean, he's been doing it for 10 years plus. High outputs, frequent, consistent. So you can't undersell that.
You can't at all. Josh, top man, thanks for coming on and for all your support of the Terrace, mate. Really appreciate it immensely. Thank you. And he's absolutely right. There's nothing about Sergio Aguero that you can write off. There's nothing about Sergio Aguero that you can dismiss. Goal scorer, creator, done it under multiple managers in the Premier League winner, FA Cup winner, League Cup winner. Domestically, he has done absolutely everything. I swear he scored over 20 goals in a season 5-6 times, as much as nobody else has done it more than him, I believe. Just phenomenal. Jem, I will share it with you privately, bro. That's what I'll do. I see Jem's comment there in that section. Get that done. I'll get it out to you, bro. Right about now. Just let this load up. Let this load up for me. You're not in that anymore, so that's not going to work. Bear with me a second. Let me find you, Jem. Hello, darkness, my old friend. There you are. There you go. I sent the link to you, bro. So you got that there. Let's go to some more of your comments before we wait for Jem to come. Actually, we're going to go to Orlando Clark. Orlando Clark, welcome back to the terrace, bro. What are you saying?
How's it going, Terry?
Yeah, I'm all good. What's in your mind, bro?
I was actually calling to speak about Fabrizio. So, as you know, because you used to work in the banking sector, as you said, it's just business. I think everybody's just being super sensitive for no reason. Also, why is nobody talking about Martial? I think that's the biggest problem. Jesse Lingard coming back, that's another big mistake. But why is nobody talking about Martial? If you got 50 million for Martial tomorrow, would you take it for him?
Do you know what? See, I don't work in those dimensions as such. I would, if we were going to be, if there's a plan to do two things. Things have to happen for Martial to leave.
Yeah.
First is there needs to be a replacement of an individual that is better to replace him in the first team. And we still then need to be looking to strengthen the squad underneath Martial. So if you said Martial's leaving and Harry Kane's coming in, but we're also signing Sancho as well from a creative point of view, or Grealish from a creative point of view, then I'd be happy. But if we just sold Martial and signed Harry Kane or Haaland, I would still be disappointed because the overall quality and strength in depth at Man United hasn't improved. Does that make sense?
Let me just make one more point. So the season before, it was Igalo that was a stopgap of, this season, it's Cavani. Most people, including yourself and KJ and Neeks and everybody, I think you would agree that it's time for Cavani to go. That's what you said anyway. So, in my opinion, we are not going to go up and spend, I don't know, another 80, 90 million on a striker. So, again, it's probably going to be another B-class, watered-down top striker.
I get that. So, to your question, let's go back to your thing about Martial. Like, to sell Martial for £1 million, would you do that?
In a heartbeat.
Yes. So, that's great. But then who and what comes in to make us better?
So I would use, I'm not going to say there's a specific player that I would go and get, but I would help to use that money to fund a proper striker. And then we're still going to have the Dan James and, I don't know, the Greenwood and everybody else basically backing up whenever needs to be. Because in my opinion, Martial right now, if you're driving a car, Terry, for example, and the engine is blown, the car won't move. If you have a flat tire, you can change.
I don't see the need to sell him. I don't see the need to sell him because I think I've always said this. Look, when he went into the number 9 role, I've supported him, cheered for him, and when he scored, I said, my number 9. But I've been ridiculed for 5 years for saying this. He ain't a bloody striker. He's an inside forward. That is where he's potent. He takes men on. He's creative. Buy a better striker. But keep Martial to keep the squad great. Like I don't see the necessity to sell it.
It's good to say, but if him as the player thinks he's a striker, even if you
now you're giving context to it. If he doesn't want to play inside forward, then absolutely.
I don't think he does. I think he thinks he's a striker. I think he thinks I'm the number 9.
And if that's what he thinks, then you move him on. Listen, great call. Thanks for supporting the channel, mate. Really appreciate it, bro. Speak to you again soon. Langan Sweet here says everyone thought Aguero couldn't fit Pep Guardiola's system, so why can't Haaland fit Pep Guardiola's system? I completely and utterly agree, like wholeheartedly. Haaland not fitting Pep's system for me. Haaland's too good a football player. He's a footballer. He ain't just a goal scorer. He's not Michael Owen from 1998. He ain't a goal scorer. He's not Javier Hernandez. He's so much better than that. Terry, he's on 250k a week. He can't hold bench. I don't expect Martial to hold bench. I expect Martial to fight to be in that first team. Fight to be in that first team. If Sancho comes in, step up. Keep him out. That's what you want. Competitive nature. Real alpha still is what you need. Next on the show, man like Jem. What you saying, bro?
Yeah, not bad, bro. How are you? You all right? Good.
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm all good.
Just before I go on to Chelsea and Haaland, with Martial, I think it worries me with him. I agree he needs to fight for his space. I just don't think he's got the right mentality to do so. I think he's very easily shifted when someone comes through the door who is as talented as him or is a threat to his position. He seems to just sort of shift aside. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't really have that gut to get up and go, right, you know what, I'm going to fight for a place, I'm going to earn it. I just don't think he's that type of player, Terry. And that's why I think, in all fairness, he's a good option to have. But if you're paying him them kind of wages, it'd probably work better if you just moved him on, in my eyes.
And do you know, again, this is why I don't care if people think he needs to move on. That's your opinion. But I like there to be some kind of logic to it. So, as Orlando said, when he eventually made his point that he should go because he believes that Martial sees himself as a number 9. I don't think he's a number 9. I don't think he's a good enough number 9 to hold that position. And if he's going to be frustrated and annoyed being moved back into an inside forward or a support sort of striker role, then you do need to look to move him on, no doubt. In terms of the Haaland news this morning, although Chelsea have not been directly named, we know Chelsea are chasing him hard. Do you think what Raoila has said gives you an advantage? Is it something you're not really overly thinking about? What's your views, bro?
The news that got me the most wasn't today's news. It was the news yesterday of Sergio Aguero leaving Man City for me. Him moving on tells me that I think Man City are going to go out for a striker in the summer. If we don't get him, I still don't think we're going to get him because I think there'll be too many people after after him. He's the complete player. And yeah, Raiola's comments are valid. It's just that I've just seen the movements of Man City and what they've done. And for me, I've just got a feeling they're going to go for him. I think it'll be all down to who can obviously put them more down, who can give them the more wages, who can
Sorry, I've got to interrupt. Just got some news through that Claude from AFTV has passed away.
What?
I'm not sure it's verified. It's come from his actual Twitter account. But yeah, they put a statement out saying that we can't believe we are writing this with permission of Claude's father. It is with great sadness, with a broken heart, we announced that our dear friend and legend Claude sadly passed away yesterday afternoon. So yeah, Claude has passed away.
That shocked me. I saw him like the other day on someone's stream. He was fine.
Yeah,
I'm lost with that. That's just out of the blue.
Yeah, absolutely. I was only talking to him a couple of days ago on the phone.
I'm lost.
Listen, Jem, thanks for coming on, mate. I just want to
Terry,
listen, bro. Appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Terrible news that Claude passed away. Heavy D and Claude inside the same year. Oh wow. Listen, I met him so many times, worked with him, always showed me nothing but tremendous respect. So I'm just very, very sad to see that news about Claude. I really, really am. Just terrible. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say other than I can't believe it. Listen, thanks everyone who's tuned in today. Really appreciate it. We'll speak again soon. All right, take care.